You know, you've heard me say in past videos that a good fall hunter will make a superb spring hunter. And if you've heard my reasons for that in past videos, you'll kind of know why I believe that. But for all those that may be new here and has never heard me say that, let me just take a moment and explain to you why I believe that. A good fall turkey hunter knows how to hunt turkeys. Number one, when turkeys ain't gobbling. And number two, he knows how to hunt them just by the sign. You know, a lot of times in the spring, you're going to have mornings, probably a lot of mornings, that you're not even going to hear a turkey, and they're just going to get lockjaw on you. And that intimidates a lot of people. They don't know what to do, because let's face it, most spring turkey hunters are out hunting because they like hearing turkeys, and that's how they hunt them. And that's great. You know, we all love that, and I'm glad that they gobble. I really am, because it makes it so much more fun. But on the mornings when they're not gobbling, then if you're a good fall hunter, that instinct kind of kicks in and you just kind of know what to do. So we're going to break down some fall tactics for spring that you can use in the spring for spring longbeards that I've used over the years that's helped me put 1 or 2 gobblers in the back of a truck. All right, let's talk about one tactic that fall hunters sometimes use on fall turkeys. And it'll work in the spring as well, even though it's more intimidating in the spring, and that's when you bust up a flock of turkeys. Now, that don't mean that I'm going to go out and purposely bust up a flock of turkeys, say like some fall hunters might. They see a big flock out there and they'll just purposely, you know, run through them or center dog through them or just walk through them, bust them up, and then get set back in there and call them back in. I'm not purposely going to do that in the spring, nor the fall really, when I do fall hunt. But let's say you accidentally bump some turkeys. Let's say it's a gobbler that's got some hens out there. You know, we all see that in fields, especially in that part of the season when most turkey seasons are open up, where you're already dealing with henned up turkeys. So a gobbler's out there with 3 or 4 hens, and he's just out there, and all of a sudden you don't see him, but you come around the corner of a field just like this one, and you bust him. And your heart just sinks. You're like, oh no. And then a lot of guys will think, well, the hunt's over, might as well turn around and go to another spot, or just go on back to the house. The gobbler goes this way, the hens go this way, or whatever. But that's really the furthest thing from the truth. If you bust up turkeys just like in the fall, guess what they want to do? That's right, they want to get back together, and especially if it's a gobbler that's got 3 or 4 hens with him. So what I like to do is, when I accidentally bump a few turkeys, you know, by accident usually, if they see you, maybe it's a field situation, or maybe it's up on a flat or in the timber, and they just go different ways, then you don't want to call it quits early. You want to go in there, and you may have to do a little, you know, a little bit of a different setup. Don't go right in there where you bust them up, but try to see where that gobbler flew. Kind of go that direction. Now, don't get super close, you know, but you want to get in there toward where that turkey flew, and you want to set in there and you want to start calling. Why? Well, because he wants to get back with them hens, right? You got to remember, turkeys spooked by a lot of different things. It ain't just a man. Coyotes, bobcats, other predators will spook turkeys. Neighbors' dogs running through the woods. Turkeys are spooked every day. In fact, somewhere probably on this public land today, I guarantee you there's been a turkey spooked by something. But that doesn't mean that the hunt's over. You just got to get in there, and you got to get him back interested in them hens that he knows he's lost. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go in there and we're going to sit down, and it may take 30 minutes to an hour, maybe more, but sooner or later he's going to start gobbling, wanting back with them hens. So what do? You got to become the most aggressive hen that's wanting to get back with him. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a lot of fall calling. I don't even think we should call it fall calling, but let's say more scenarios you might hear in the fall. I'm going to go back to my fall tactics and start using them on this spring longbeard. Do you some key runs. Do you some lost calls. Be that hen out there that wants to get back with that gobbler and them other hens, and a lot of times that just gets him fired up. So let's talk about calling a little bit. Now, here's how we're going to call when we accidentally bust up a flock of turkeys. We're going to do some key runs, the lost call. We're going to play on that gobbler sympathy, or we're going to play on the hen sympathy that was with that gobbler. Because if the hens are over here and they want to get back with this hen that's you, you know, and you're doing this, and them hens come in and start talking to you. This gobbler's over here. He wants to come to you also. So you want to go back to some fall tactics, your key runs. That works great. And just get in there and be that turkey that's really interested in getting back with them other gobblers, or with that hen or the gobbler. Do you some walking yelps, what I call walking yelps. You know, turkeys a lot of times will call down deep within. That's why you don't hear turkeys, you know, as far as hens every day out in the woods, because they're doing all this soft calling. But a turkey hears that way out there also. So you want to do what I call walking yelps. Be that turkey that's just trying to walk, find them other turkeys. Kind of goes like this. You notice I'm not opening my mouth. I'm not really getting super loud like I would when I'm locating. I'm just walking. I'm being a hen that's just walking, trying to find them other turkeys. Just calling down under your breath. You hear that cadence, that you hear that different pitches that I'm doing. It's not just one volume, it's just up and down, up and down. That's a hen that's walking, and as her body and her legs is moving, then her voice is moving. So that's what you kind of want to be. And a lot of times, even though you may think you're calling too much, listen, you're the one that's trying to get this gobbler back with them hens. So sometimes overcalling, what you would normally think would be overcalling on a day when you're just working a turkey normally, when you bust a flock up like that, man, sometimes what you think is overcalling is exactly what that turkey wants to hear, and get him back gobbling and get him back fired up. And many times, if you'll kiki, do the walking yelps, really get aggressive, that old gobbler, he'll start gobbling, and he'll come a lot of times running right back to you where you just messed him up an hour before. So don't give up on them hunts where you bust a flock up accidentally. Stay in there after them, because a lot of times that's the very turkey that you'll be taking home with you at the end of the day. Now, you've heard me talk about in other videos gobbler yelping. And you know, I think the last 2 or 3 years I've done at least one video on this subject of gobbler yelping. And it's really strange, a few years ago when I did my first video years ago on gobbler yelping, how many people contacted me, emailed me, commented on the videos, and said they never heard of, of gobbler yelping and what was it. And it's really amazing, because that's something that I learned as a little kid way back in the old turkey calls, when you had the gobbler side and the hen side. And that's what a lot of old timers taught, was gobbler yelping. Now, gobbler yelping is really effective in the fall, no doubt about it. It's more of a fall call, just like the kiki call. But however, in the fall, when you're gobbler yelping, that's just them gobblers assembling together. Now, in the spring, what we're going to use gobbler yelping is a lot of times when they got henned up turkeys. Again, when you're out there and you don't bust them up, let's say accidentally, and they're out there in the field, and you're trying to call to the hens. We've talked about calling to the hens before, and the hens trying to get them to you and drag him to you. But what if that don't work? Because sometimes it just don't. Sometimes the hen could care less, and they just walk on and take the gobbler off. Well, before that gobbler walks off, I'm going to try something. If he's out there in front of me, I'm going to try something, because the worst thing you can do is just overcall and they go off anyway, and you're not going to kill them anyway. So I'm going to try something. As long as he's in front of me, I'm going to do something to try to get this gobbler's attention. And sometimes gobbler yelping has been the very thing. I go back to my fall tactics, and being an old fall turkey hunter, I go back to the fall tactics of gobbler yelping, and sometimes that's the very call that will break that longbeard away from that group of hens, and he'll come right on in to me. I've done it. Now, he may not leave that hen totally. He may not leave them hen, say, completely. But let's say you're set up at this tree over here, and you're hunting this field, and a gobbler comes in. He's got hens out there, and he's 80 yards, and he's just hung up right there, and they're starting to go off. Well, all that gobbler needs to come is another 40 yards for me to be effectively able to kill him. So gobbler yelping, even though he may not leave them hens at 80 yards, he may come across 40 or even 30 or even 50, or sometimes all the way. He may come in all the way just to find that gobbler that's challenging him with gobbler yelping, or that jake yelping, gobbler yelping, and put a whooping on him. And sometimes that's the very yardage you need in order to kill him. Now imagine this turkey's a bigger gobbler, he's a bigger turkey, deep chested, so he's going to be a lot more raspy. And not just that, but he's going to lengthen out his yelps. So here's a gobbler yelp. Something about that gobbler yelp where I've actually called gobblers away from, their hens, and kill him. Now, he may not leave them hens totally, but he may come just close enough for you to get a shot. In fact, the turkey that you're seeing a picture of right now, that's exactly how I killed this turkey. He had about 5 hens with him in a field, and I was calling to the hens, trying to get the hens fired up, and they weren't paying no attention to me. And I pulled my box call out, and I started gobbler yelping, and his head totally just turned blood red, and he started strutting, and he left them hens come about 40 yards, 50 yards away from them hens, but it was just enough in that shotgun range to where I could kill him. That goes to show you fall tactics for spring longbeards right there. So don't ever throw out and forget about gobbler yelping. Use that on henned up gobblers. The same reaction you're getting to a strutting decoy when they're coming in and flogging a decoy that we've all seen happen, the same reaction you're getting from a strutting decoy is the same reaction you're going to get to gobbler yelping. You're challenging that gobbler. So remember the pecking order. So there's another fall tactic that you can use for spring longbeards that sometimes it'll work for you. Does it work every time? No. Sometimes you can gobbler yelp to them and hen yelp to them and they ain't gonna do nothing. But you hit that right nerve on that right day on that right gobbler, and it could be the very day when that gobbler that you're hunting comes on in for that killing shot. And I think finally one of the last good fall tactics that I can tell you about that fall hunters do where spring hunters kind of overlook is sign. You got to learn how to hunt over sign. A good fall hunter, he looks for sign. But a lot of spring hunters, they just go out in the woods and they rely on their ears and they call and wait for a turkey to gobble. But a good fall hunter, he'll look on the ground, he'll find sign. And once he finds that sign, hey, you know what? Something made that sign. That sign didn't just magically appear there. And if that's fresh sign, even if they're not gobbling, sit in there over that fresh sign, look for the scratchings, look for the droppings, look for the roost feathers, look for the dust in places. If them turkeys have been in there the last day or 2 or 3, they're going to be in there somewhere close. So good fall hunters depend on sign, gobbler yelping, and even when they bust turkeys up, they'll call them back in. Spring hunters can do the same exact thing. And these tactics can be very, very greatly used to great success on spring turkeys as well. So remember that this spring, and them tactics may be the very thing that helps you kill that gobbler this coming spring. And make sure to subscribe to our channel. Just hit that subscribe button down in the corner. I really appreciate it. Also, check out all of our sponsors in the links below. Spring Fever Custom Calls, where you can get my signature series of turkey calls from the old gobbler getter when they're in stock, the little sly, the old sly, the slate call, all of the signature calls there, and all the other great calls from Spring Fever Custom Calls. Check them out in the links below. Check out Stoker Shotguns. Check out Tidewe, where you can get blinds, boots, a lot of great hunting equipment. If you ain't been going over to Tidewe, you're really missing out. Just make sure to use the promo code DALE to even get a better discount on all your purchases. And check out Kona Scopes, Game Cuffs, and our brand new sponsor, Obsession Bows. Check them out, because I'll tell you what, I'm really impressed with my bow, and I've been out shooting it and trying to get used to it. I'm really impressed with it, so check them out at Obsession Bows. We really appreciate all of those that help us, and make sure to join me on Patreon, where you can become a $5 a month supporter to Dale Outdoors and help us out, just to help us bring you better content and all that. So follow me on social media. Hey, just appreciate everybody and keep following me, and I'll see you in the next video.